Hi and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a 2 times a week practice routine with each session being no more than 50 balls that will not only allow you to maintain your game over the winter, but could likely allow you to improve over the winter. So as when you hit next spring, you'll actually be a better golfer and can start chasing a lower handicap. A lot of people will now begin to rely on going to the driving range to maintain their golf through the winter. But why do we find that people spend lots and lots of hours and lots of money over at driving ranges and not actually getting any better with their golf? It's because the practice that you're doing isn't efficient and isn't effective. And that's basically what this video is going to be. I'm going to provide you with a structured routine twice a week, 50 balls a session, that I believe firmly will make you a better golfer come the end of the winter than you are now. But why listen to me? I'm Graham. I'm currently a 2 handicapper and I've spent numerous winters trying to work out a really good way to practice so as I can come into the spring ready to play, ready to compete and ready to win competitions. And what I now want to do is share the knowledge that I've gained over all those years with you so as you can improve over the winter as well. The practice plan I'm going to give you here won't waste your time. You won't waste money on thousands of golf balls. When you do get out and play in the winter, you'll be in better shape to actually play well. And by the time you come to the spring and summer, you'll be able to hit the ground running with your golf and be looking to reduce your handicap as soon as the season really kicks in. Right, I hear the skepticism in your voice. 100 balls a week over 2 sessions to improve your golf. And yes, I'm going to say it's possible, because what we're going to get you doing is we're going to be getting you to practice with purpose and make your practice efficient, and also it won't ingrain bad habits of you just standing in the range and randomly bashing golf balls. Think of this as a recipe to create the most perfect cake you've ever tasted. I'm giving you all the ingredients and all the instructions to put them together and make this amazing cake, as opposed to you just going in the cupboard, grabbing a load of stuff, shoving it in a pot and hoping for the best. Okay, so let's look at the details of these 2 practice sessions. Now, if you've got access to a TrackMan or Top Tracer range, these are going to be super easy to follow. But even if your driving range is just a field with an odd flag plonked down there, you can still easily follow this plan and you can still make it effective to improve your golf over the winter. Okay, so the first session of each week is about going through your bag of golf clubs and hitting quality shots. So how are we going to break down 50 golf balls within this session? So for your first 10 balls, you're going to grab the wedge out of your golf bag. You're going to be looking at targets that are on the range that are less than 100 yards away from you. And if you've got a TrackMan or a Top Tracer range, you'll know the distances of those. If you've just got flags in a field, then if you've got a rangefinder, then obviously just ping that onto the flags, because you want to know the distances and you want to hit a shot to a different flag every single time. So you can repeat that, but I don't want you to hit a 50 yard, a 50 yard, a 50 yard, a 50 yard. I want you to hit a 50 yard, a 62, a 78, back to 50, back to 78, to 60. And you're going to do that for the first 10 balls. It's a great way to warm up the body anyway and get you in the right frame of mind, but also every range session should contain at least some pitching practice. It's so important and it's such an aspect of the game that you need to be good at, that any practice that you can do on it will benefit you out on the golf course. Right, so after we've hit our 10 wedge shots, we're now going to start working up the bag. Now again, we're going to make sure that you're going to be picking targets out on the driving range. That's really, really important. And for each of the shots, I want you to really think about your pre-shot routine. So if that's having a couple of practice swings, if that's stepping back and lining up your shot, then I want you to do that on each one of these golf balls. Now you can choose to go up the clubs either odds or evens. For this example, we're going to go up through the odds. So we're going to start with your 9-iron and you're going to hit 5 9-iron shots. You're then going to move to your 7-iron and you're going to hit 5 7-iron shots. You're then going to move to your 5-iron and hit 5 5-iron shots. Again, all of these hit with focus, purpose, and a target in mind. Right, so we've now reached the part of the driving range session that you're probably going to be enjoying, because now we're going to be able to get into the woods, driver, 3-wood, whichever it is you prefer. You're going to have 10 golf balls. Now, if you're on a TrackMan driving range or a Top Tracer driving range, then you're looking at having a fairway that you can have on the system, and obviously with a reasonable width. If you're on just a field with some flags in it, then what I want you to do is pick a target in the distance and then give yourself approximately a 25-yard gap one way and a 25-yard gap the other way to create approximately a 50-yard fairway. If you think that that's a little bit too much, you can certainly narrow it down, but we don't want to make this too difficult to start off with. Now, what we're going to do, and the crux of this, is you have 10 golf balls to hit your long club, so let's say driver. However, if you miss either the fairway on your launch monitor range or your imaginary fairway on your field with flags, then you have to go back to your bag, grab your sand wedge and hit your pitch chip out from the trees as if you were out on the golf course. Now, this is going to put a premium on your driving and you concentrating on trying to hit good tee shots on the driving range. It's so easy to go onto the driving range with your driver and just wail away at random without worrying where the ball's gone. In this regard, I'm giving you a maximum of 10 shots with your driver, and the more mistakes you make, the less drivers you get to hit. So ultimately, if you can hit 10 out of 10 fairways with your driver, then give yourself a good old pat on the back, because that's fantastic. But remember, you need to make sure that you're concentrating on your targets and that you're challenging yourself and being honest that if you've missed the fairway, you've got to go to your bag, grab your wedge and chip out the trees. Okay, so now we've hit our drivers. What we're going to do is we're now going to start working our way back down the bag like we did on the way up. We went up with the odd numbers, so in this case we're going to go down with the even numbers, and I like people to try and finish at a pitching wedge, so I would routinely suggest that you start with your 6-iron and you're going to hit 5 balls with your 6-iron. Once you've done that, you're then going to hit 5 balls with your 8-iron, and you're finally going to finish off hitting 5 balls with your pitching wedge. And again, all of these shots, I'd like you to be using your pre-shot routine, and I'd like you to make sure that you're picking targets to hit out on the driving range. So there you go. That's the first session. It's only 50 golf balls. It's quality practice. It includes some work on your pitching game, and there's jeopardy at the top of the bag if you hit a bad driver. I mean, what's not to like about this practice session? Right, so the second session of the week, if you're on a TrackMan or Top Tracer range, is going to be really, really easy for you to do. If you're on a field with flags, then you're going to have to use a little bit of imagination, but you can certainly achieve the same results even on a very, very basic range. So to start off with, the first thing you're going to do is grab 10 balls out of your 50, and you're going to warm up hitting a few shots. You're going to hit a few wedges, you're going to hit a few irons, and then maybe 2 drivers at the end of that warm up. Right, so if you've got a TrackMan or a Top Tracer range, then the rest of this practice session is really, really straightforward and simple. Get onto the system, pick one of the virtual golf courses in the system, and you've now got 40 golf balls to get as far around that golf course as possible, which means each shot is a premium of being as good as it can possibly be. So make sure you line yourself up, make sure you go through your pre-shot routine, make sure you pick your targets, and ultimately try and get as far around the course as possible with 40 golf balls. If you tend to go to the driving range with a mate, then this is a great time to have a little bit of a competitive game. Loser buys next week's golf balls. Ultimately, what we're doing here is we're really getting a feeling of you actually playing a round of golf. And that's really, really important, especially if you can't get out on the golf course as much as possible. There's a real ease when you go to the driving range of standing there and hitting 10 8-irons in a row, 10 drivers in a row, 10 6-irons in a row, and that's just not how the game of golf works. If you can play one of these virtual golf courses once a week, trying to get as far around the course with the 40 balls that you have, then A, there's a premium on you hitting good shots, but B, you're going to have to hit a driver, then an iron. You might have to play a pitch shot, then you might have to hit a long iron on a par 3, then you might be hitting another driver, and again, you're really beginning to just continue to almost train yourself to play golf but out on the driving range. Obviously, if you manage to get around the entire course with 40 golf balls, then congratulations to you. And if you don't, but you begin to get bored of that golf course, then these systems have plenty of different golf courses on them, so pick another course, go try your best on that one. If you don't have access to a top tracer or TrackMan driving range, then you can still use this method. You just have to use a tiny little bit of imagination. And the way you do that is quite simple. What you're going to do is you're going to try and play your golf course but out on the driving range. That means you're going to create some targets that would be a fairway of width and some ideas of where a green might be. So even if you've just got an empty field, you can maybe pick a couple of poles at the end or trees in the distance that would equate to a fairway. And obviously if you have got a flag, you can imagine what a green would look like from that point. So for me, the way I would do this is my first hole at my home club is a par 4 with a dog leg to the right hand side. So I'm going to pick my width of fairway and I'm going to stand there and I'm going to hit the club that I normally hit off that tee. That's normally a 3 or 5 wood for me. Obviously if I've hit the fairway and I feel I've hit a good tee shot, then I play my next shot as if I was playing my approach to the green. And on our hole, that usually leaves me with a pitching wedge or a gap wedge into the green. So ultimately I'm then playing that shot. If I miss the green, then I still need to play the chip shot onto that green. But if I make the green, then I can move on to the next hole. Now, on the other hand, if I grab my 3-wood out my bag and I just slice one to the right-hand side, on our golf course, that's a huge coppice of trees. And I know that there's no way that I'm going to be doing anything else than chipping out sideways back onto the fairway where I should have hit my tee shot in the first place. So I'm going to go back to my bag, grab my sand wedge, chip back out onto the fairway, then assess the distance I believe I would have to that green and pick the correct club from there. And again, I'm going to play that until I feel that I would have the ball on the green. Then I'm going to move on to the next hole. Now on my golf course, that's a long par 3 of over 200 yards slightly down the hill. So I'm going to grab my club out, which will usually be a 5 or 6 iron depending on the wind conditions. And then I'm going to play that shot. And again, if I miss that green, I'm going to have to play the chip or the pitch shot on. And again, I'm then going to try and make it as far around my golf course as I can, virtually on the driving range with the 40 balls that I have after my warm-up. So there you go. I hope you found that really useful. That's 2 practice sessions a week, 100 total balls hit. But because the practice is of really good quality and it's interesting, it's something that you can maintain. And I believe that if you do, then when it comes to the spring, you'll be in a position to start playing really good golf as soon as the conditions allow. And that will put you in a really good position to allow you to win some competitions, reduce your handicap, and generally play better. On top of this, you won't have wasted hours over the driving range. You won't have wasted lots and lots of money on golf balls, and you won't have spent the entire winter ingraining really bad swing mechanics, which can quite easily happen when you go over to a driving range, grab 100, 150 golf balls and just bash them away for an hour and a half. Because the practice is of really good quality and because you're hitting the minimum amount of balls to actually make it effective, it means that you're less likely to ingrain bad movements into your golf swing in the winter. Right, so apart from following this structured routine, the only things left to do are to like this video and to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out, and YouTube is really starting to take notice of the quality information that I'm providing through my videos. Also, comment below whether you think you're going to give this a try, and if you do, come back and tell me how much you enjoyed it as opposed to just going over the driving range and smashing golf balls randomly. Also, check out this video that I think you'll like. I'm Graham, enjoy your practice, and I'll catch you on the course soon.